Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, ATH Alice. Welcome to our weekly show. My name is Abby. I am your Healthy Living NP. How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. Please share the show. Please give me a thumbs up. Please share the show. I'll be right with you in a few seconds here. Hope you all are having a good day. I'll put my glasses on and I'll get my manners over here. Okay, how are you all doing? Okay, as you can see, today's topic is this tips for finding a new doctor. And as always, my disclaimer, I'm a provider, but I'm not your provider. I do that interchangeably. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider. And if you have any issues with your current doctor, speak to them first, okay? Okay, so like I said, please share the show. Please give me a thumbs up and let's get right into it. Just go ahead and give me a thumbs up, share the show. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so hello to all of you watching me from Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page and also Focus on Liberia and also on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining in. Okay, so you might say, I'm happy with my doctor, right? I'm not going to be changing doctors anytime soon. So maybe this might not be for me. Yes, this may be for you because there's so many reasons why people change doctors. Okay. Sometimes it's like you may not like the doctor, you want to change stuff, but so many reasons you may have moved away, okay, or moving away. You get new insurance. Sometimes your insurance doesn't carry the same doctor. You got married and you got your husband or your wife's insurance and all that. So you have to change doctors. You're divorcing, you may have to change doctors on that. You need another doctor that maybe I need somebody with second opinion. Maybe you want a doctor that has better bedside manner, meaning when you go to the office that you feel comfortable when you're in the office. Sometimes cultural differences. I work in a place before whereas like I work with people where they were foreigners, the immigrant group and all, and they wanted to go to a doctor that also shared the same. But doesn't mean the other person's not a good doctor or is not going to give you the best of care. But some people prefer that. Okay, yes, this person may know my culture a little bit, and more, and I can relate to them more because if I tell them something, they're not going to say, okay, what is that and all that. Okay. And that doesn't mean that when you go there, that because it could be a practice that have other providers there too. So you may not be seeing the same person you want to go to, but you can always ask. All right. The office may be closing down. That doctor from that practice may be leaving because you may say, okay, yes, I like their practice, but I don't like the other doctors there. I just go to this one doctor when I go there every time. So that doctor may be leaving because doctors move around, change jobs and all that too. I'm talking about doctors, nurse practitioner, PA, and all that. Okay. You may say, okay, maybe you see a doctor that specializes in certain things and all, maybe like obesity, substance abuse, and things like that. So I want to see another doctor. So the many reasons why I'm going. Again, like I said, you may not like the other doctor, or you just maybe that doctor knows something more personal about you, or like find out that doctor's married to somebody else or related to somebody else who you don't want your business in the street. Of course, all we know we carry confidentiality oath and all, but sometimes you'd be like, nah, I don't want to be with that person because they just might just tell my business to everybody. So you may want to leave. All right. So that's some of the reasons that you might want to leave that doctor. So this is important. All right. So let's get into the tips. So we're not in here too long tonight. So before you leave that first doctor, alrighty. Let me go in there. So before you leave that doctor, find a new doctor first. All right. Don't just, especially if you move, if you're going to be in the same area, find a new doctor first. The main reason because you want to make that transition as smooth as possible. And also, let's say if that doctor is prescribing medications for you, especially things like pain medicine, or you going through some kind of treatment with a specialist. Also, you don't want to just say, okay, you know what, I'm done. I'm leaving and also because and what happens when you need medication like the next month, or you need a prescription, or you need maybe clearance to go for a procedure, or you need a physical done and all, you're not gonna be able to do that right away. Sometimes you can get a physical done at like a CVS and all those different mini clinics and all, but most of the time they want your PCP to do that. Okay, so don't just leave that gap. Find another doctor first and say, okay, yes, I'm going to be changing my doctors. I'm just want to let you know that I'm changing doctors and be going somewhere else. They don't have to know, but then when they send their records and all, they need to know which doctor you go into. Okay. So don't just jump up and just say, yes, I'm going to leave. All right. Alrighty. So before you define the doctor, some doctors, and also you want to get your medical records, and also you can, and sometimes, especially if the doctor's not one of your choice. Let's say your insurance company gives you a list of doctors, and those are the ones you have to go to. Sometimes I mean, it can be a little hard for, because I did had a patient before who was moving away, and she said, "Where do you work? Where you work? Do you work another place where I'm moving that place?" And I said, "No, I only work here." So she's like, "Oh, that means I have to go find a whole new person again." I'm like, "I'm sorry." All right. So find a new doctor first, because you might be saying, and find out if that doctor that you're picking, if they're taking new patients, because some doctors don't take new patients for a while. They may be going through some staffing changes. They may be having some other issues. I mean, they may not be taking any new patients. Okay. Some doctors don't take certain insurance also. So make sure you call them first. Don't leave your other doctor before making that, finding out first. Okay. And call your insurance company. Usually you look in your insurance card, in the back of it says member services. You call them and say, okay, which doctors in this area, this is where I'm moving to, which doctors in this area take my insurance, or I really like this doctor, I just want to make sure they take my insurance also. So you call the offer first and say, I'm just going to find out if you take my insurance, before you just go ahead and just leave like that, because the doctor you may want to go to doesn't take your insurance. All right. And sometimes some of the doctors do, they book like way in advance. So you might need something serious, maybe something done next month. Like say, like again, like I said, pain medication, things like anxiety medications, and things that you need to be seen in the office for. Because some doctors will say, okay, I will give you like a 3 months worth, and then I need to see you back in the office, because we have to reevaluate you. We have to re-examine you to see if we need to increase the dose or decrease the dose or discontinue the dose altogether. A new doctor will be like, I need you to come into the office. And that next appointment for you to see them may not be until at least maybe 3 to 4 months later. So it's important that you don't just go ahead and just say, okay, yes, I'm going to do. So it's important that you call first and say, yes, I'm coming. And then you can stop going to this other doctor. Okay. They also said, like, tip number 2, schedule one last visit. You can go to the office there and tell them. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you can go there and say, I'm leaving because of this and this reason. Because some doctors, like, you develop a close relationship with them, and you can say, I don't really want to leave, but I have to leave because based on this, this, and this, like some of the issues that I listed before. Okay, and then sometimes you might just tell them, I'm leaving because of this. And also sometimes if it's something that you felt deep down in your soul that you didn't like this doctor or provider for, you can also say, these are the reasons I'm leaving you. Hopefully that will make them change. And the next person that comes after you, the other patients that come after you will benefit from the fact that you changed stuff, because not everybody understands, like, okay, yes, I can't believe this doctor didn't understand that these, my people, or this or this culture. And it's not everybody understands that. Okay. The same way how, let's say you live in let's say, okay, we're Liberians, live in Liberia, you became a doctor and all that. You're going to go to Iceland. You're not going to know everything about the people in Iceland. Okay, there will be times where you might say something that may be a little insensitive, that may be wrong or presumptuous. And also, it's always important. It's like, okay, if I say anything to you, I may not understand it. So please let me know. And so it doesn't mean like, oh, am I supposed to teach you how to be sensitive? Not necessarily. But sometimes it's like, okay, just say the way you said that in my country, it means something different and all. Where I come from, it means something different. So I'd appreciate you not say that anymore. And okay, this is that way we can talk about it. So you're teaching and they're teaching you too. We don't know everything. Okay, we don't know everything else in there. And yes, we do everything, not to be insensitive, but we don't know everything. All right. And again, like I said, you can discuss your reason for leaving, or you don't even have to do that. You don't necessarily have to do. I left my last doctor. I didn't go for the last appointment. I just changed doctors after I made sure that I had, and they took my insurance and all that. So I just went ahead and I just left them. So I didn't I knew that the doctor would know each other personally too. So I didn't really have to like go there and say, this is the reason I'm going. Because when you go make that last appointment, again, like I said, you're paying copay and all, but again, it's important that you do go there and get all your information. Again, making sure you have your medication and all that, your clearances, your anything that you may need in the meantime while you're changing doctors. Okay, especially when you're moving out of state, to those medications and things that you may need ahead of time. You want to make sure that also that's in place before you go ahead and just abruptly leave like that. Okay. So, and like I said, you don't have to say why you're leaving. You can tell them. You don't have to do that. Alrighty. So make sure you get your medical records too. You can ask them, right? Before I leave, I'm leaving. I want to get my medical records. They might say, because depending on the electronic medical system that they use, it may be a little delayed. It might say, okay, you need to get the stuff, or that office may need to write one last note. That doctor may have to write one last note before they can release your records and all. Different states have different rules on, how long it can take for you to get your medical records and all, to give you a physical copy, and also to get, might put it on a little disc or key fob or something like that before you can take it to your other doctor. So just ask ahead of time that if you need your medical records, and sometimes on the mind charts is on there too, so you can just look there. But there's certain things that we write that just not on the mind chart that you need to, your other doctor may need to see. So it's important. Ask way ahead of time. Ask them when you're going to need it, because the reason being I say that is, when you do go to the new doctor, sometimes they're like, it's all right there. Everything's in there. And it's like, no, I didn't get your records yet. So there's many things I still don't know about you. So you may have to do that introductory visit and then come back again for the second time, because I don't know all your records and I have to spend like the whole night reading everything that's important, so I can give you the best of care when I see you. So it's important that you call first and say, oh, by the way, I got my medical records and I'm just going to find out if you received it first, or I have the physical copy. I can bring it to the office and then I can schedule my appointment at a later time. Okay, so it's important that you do that. And it's always good to have your medical records too, but don't go reading too much into it, and understand it. You can have the other doctor explain it to you, especially like, because you could see something and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is what's going on. I can't believe this doctor didn't say that. So there's so many rationales on why we do things. So don't, yes, you have every right to have your records and all, but have it in a way where you're going to bring it to the other doctor and say, can you please explain this? I was reading. Can you please explain this? Okay. So now some of the tips that you need to do, right? So when you're choosing the next doctor, now some of the tips you do is the office staff friendly and helpful. So when you go there, call is that if I go into the portal system where you can write a note to the doctor, a message to the doctor and all, or the message to the office, how soon will you call me back? Because sometimes if I need you to call me back at a certain time. How often do you answer? How quickly will you answer? Is the office hours convenient to me? I don't want to go somewhere where, it's like the office, you have 9 to 5. And what if I work 9 to 5? Or what if I have to pick up my kids? Some office hours, they have it like 9 to 5. And then maybe like a Tuesday, Wednesday, they have up to 7 or to 10. My doctor's office, they're open, I think, from 7 to 7. They also have after hours too. And they also open 6 days a week. So you may not be able to do during the week. So they may need a Saturday hour. So ask that if they have that already. How easy it is, again, to reach the provider. If you pick up the phone, if you email, you're expecting them to at least, text you back within like 24 hours or so. All right. Sometimes do they have telehealth? Because there are times you can't come into the office. It depends on if your insurance covers it. Because if the doctor just speaking to you face to face, they're not putting hands on you, they're not listening to your lungs or your stomach and all that too, they may need you to come into the office. But for some offices, they also offer telehealth. All right. They may offer telehealth services maybe on the weekend or maybe on a Friday or certain times during the weekend also, but you still have to pay, by the way. So, but ask them, do they have that? Because sometimes if you just want to ask a question or something, you'd be like, can you look at my eye and see? You may not need to come into the office for that. And they can just go ahead and just examine you through telehealth, and then also go ahead and prescribe the medication that you need. Alrighty. Ask his doctor, if I have this problem, how do you solve certain problems? Do they have an aggressive way of like dealing with certain problems? Or they're going to say, oh, that's okay. You don't have to worry about it. If you find it a little lackadaisical about something that you find very serious, or like just kind of putting some aside, you'd be like, maybe this is not where I want to be. Alrighty. The doctor, would they refer you to other specialists and all? Because when something's going on, we have to know when to diagnose, when to treat, and when to refer to other doctors, even other specialists. Because like you go to a cardiologist, they might say, okay, this is like a nephrology issue, like a kidney issue. I want nephrology on board also. Or they may say, okay, we discovered something else. I want somebody else on board in addition to your primary care doctor too. So you might say, maybe, I need to go see somebody else. When are you going to send me to go see somebody else already? And other colleagues, how many doctors or providers are in the practice? Because sometimes it might, you listen carefully, you might get in saying something bad about another colleague. I don't like that, mainly because the fact is, if you're having a problem with my colleague, if you're having a problem with me, talk to me. Do not talk to the patient. The medical assistants also do not talk to the patient. Don't say, oh, maybe you may not want to see this doctor. You may not want to see this provider. You may want to see somebody else. Talk to me. Don't talk to patients, because in as much as you can do that, the patient might say, oh, I don't trust you then. If you can talk behind your colleague's back, there's something wrong with it. And if the practice that hires you has a problem with you, they shouldn't be keeping you on board. And when having problem, because patients go online right now and they just, go on Google and go and write their comments and everything and reviews. And sometimes you go on Google and somebody's saying something so nice about you, especially if you're a really good doctor, a really good provider and all. And there's some people who just like, sometimes they pay them, or they get pissed off at one person in the office, and they would just write like the worst review about you. And you go, they'd be like, did I ever see this person? And they can be anonymous. So it's like, and you can't help that because there'll be people who just will not like you, and that's all you can do. You know, like I tell people, I do the best that I can and all that. And me and the office staff will work together, but I can only do the best I can. Alrighty. And so to make sure that doctor too, when, or like a provider, when they call you, if they're saying, okay, this is what I'm looking at, look at your test results, like I show people the test results and I get them involved in the care. Okay, your numbers, your A1C, your diabetic numbers going up, what are we going to do about it? This is the plan. Make you feel like you're part of the team. Don't go there and they're sitting there and you're just, they're taking your hold of your whole life, and you feel like, okay, you're just telling me what to do, telling me what to do. What about me? Involve me in my care. All right. So it's important, and also again, especially when you go see a new doctor. I know there was a thing on TikTok where people were saying, oh, some doctors when they go into the place, people of color always have somebody else on the phone. All right, and it's like I'm talking to you and I'm talking to the person. If you feel that you have to have somebody else on the phone when you go see your doctor and all, you can have their person on the phone. I've had people on the phone before. I'm always on the phone for a relative or friend. Okay. And I tell them, I say, just let them know you have somebody on the phone and let them know my title. So at least that way it's not, but you don't necessarily have to be in healthcare to be listening on the phone. Sometimes it's just comfort, especially for when you're taking somebody who, let's say somebody who's like non-English speaking, or somebody an elderly, or sometimes people just don't trust, I'm in the office here and this person know this and I'm going to be here. I need somebody else to listen. So maybe I may forget what to say. And it's also important when you go see this new doctor, have written questions ready to go, because when you go in there and they're talking and they're not in there for too long, you forget really important things. I always tell the patients, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing you today. I went over your history. I read everything in the night and all. What is it? What's important, especially when they're new? I take care of things that are important. And I said, what are the most important things that I need to deal with today? The one or two things that I need to deal with today, because you come in with so many things and I can't deal with everything right away. So what are the first two things you want me to deal with today? And then if we have to, we'll do blood work and all, and then we'll call you back in and discuss that. Okay. So I'm involving your care, but I have the questions ready to go. And I'm not going to know everything. I'm not going to be able to answer everything, but it's important that you do that. All right. And let me just see here. So I think I copied all of that. So it's important also. And so just remember, your doctors, your providers, and all that, we're human beings and all. So there'll be times where you come in there and you say, okay, the first time you're meeting somebody and you just, oh, I did the first time I met them, I just didn't, my spirit didn't get them, or whatever it is. Give them time. Give it time. All right. I'm not saying you should sit anywhere where you're going to be disrespected or abused. All right. So just give it a little time to the second visit and you say, okay, yeah, I was right. My premonition was right about this person. So I'm not going to go there. But especially also for teenagers, younger ones that are going into or adult care. I think I did a show on that before, when they're like 16 and 17, or sometimes they're maybe 12, 13, they don't want to go to the pediatrician anymore. When they go in there, especially when they turn 18 too, they don't know that much about it. I mean, I'm assuming that when you're 17, 18, you don't know that much about your history. You see so many videos where they ask the younger kids, Mom, where's my date of birth? Mom, who has this stuff? So you can be on the phone, all right, and listen, have your mom or dad or whoever, the person that you trust, to be on the phone and listening to. Because my son, when he went to go to the adult doctor and all, I was listening. I'm like, I'm on the phone, and he was telling the doctor, was telling me these things. And he's like, and my son's like, yeah, she's an NP, she knows. So, but it's like, okay, so that way at least the doctor's not explaining like from the very beginning if I'm talking to somebody who's in healthcare. All right, so it's important. Take them the first time, especially when they go into adult doctors. Take them for the first time. If they don't want you to come into the room with them, you can sit in the lobby area. You can be on the phone and just be listening. So that way they get used to going to the doctors themselves. Okay. So I hope everything I said to you today, I don't want to make this too long, that has been helpful to you guys. Let me see if I see any questions there. Okay. Glendy said, thank you, Glendy, Miss. Great. Okay, I got that one. Glendy said that. I'm trying to get this here to say a show. And Miss Yimpa, how are you? Thank you very much. Alrighty, and alrighty, let me just put that there. So for those of you who are listening now, I say thank you. So if you have any questions or comments, you can just leave it below. I'll answer it all during the week. And also I go back and, if you have anything else, all right? So if you haven't joined Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page on Facebook and on YouTube, I come on Tuesday at 7 p.m. and I do daily dose during the week. So join Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page is right there. Because if you're watching from Focus on Liberia or somewhere else, you will not be seeing the daily dose that I do. Low helpful videos along the way, okay? So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your continued love and support. Good night to you from Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page, from Focus on Liberia, and from YouTube and other places that I may share this to later. Alrighty, please give me a thumbs up, share. Okay. Again, like I said, your friends may not be my friends, and they can see that. Alrighty. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe. Bye bye.